March is my birthday month, and it also is Developmental Disability Awareness Month. We are so fortunate to have an incredibly rich community of advocates, families, organizations that have been working now for generations to ensure that our intellectual and developmental disability community receives the programs and services and the support that they need and that they deserve. We often talk about equity and inclusion here in Montgomery County. It is part of our DNA. It is what makes us what I think is one of the strongest communities in the entire nation. But to ensure true equity, we have to make sure that we support in every way imaginable our IDD community. And in 2022, there were more than 482,000 people in the state of Maryland on the waiting list for home and community-based services through the Developmental Disability Association alone. We know that, especially coming out of COVID, this community needs even more support from all of us. And I'm proud to have introduced legislation that has the unanimous support of all of my colleagues to create a commission. And I'm also proud to have worked closely with the county executive on the development of this commission. This commission will focus on advocacy and ensure that both at the county and state level, the incredible group of advocates that have been advocating for issues for a number of years have the support that they need collectively. And I'm proud to have worked with the county executive on that legislation. In a moment, I will introduce the organizations that are behind me here today. But before I do that, I want to welcome the county executive to make some opening comments. Mr. County Executive.
So thank you very much. This was fun, and it happened really quickly. Someone commented it came out as a recommendation in September, and it's already happening now. So that's pretty quick. We had a great commission, but it was overwhelmed and dealing with both physical disabilities and intellectual disabilities. There was a need to separate the two functions, and so we did that. This is personal for me. I have two foster sons. If you know me, one of them still lives with me. He's 55 years old. The other one, whose hip is deteriorated to the point that he can't walk, is in a group home. Both of them had periods of time when they worked, and the employment for them, just the value of working made them feel worthwhile. I mean, my sons both loved going to work because it made them feel like they were like everybody else. And that's the kind of work that all these different groups behind us, these community groups, make possible. We have many people now in the county who are in group homes. We've got, I think, over 500 employed, if I read that number right. I'll check that number. 570 people getting personal supports, 890 people in group homes, 1,400 people involved in various activities every day in the community. It's a lot of people, and we know the need is even greater. We could build more group homes. We need more facilities to take care of people. I know many people struggle with their children as they get older and what to do with them and how to keep them engaged. So we've got a very active and concerned community. This committee will give an even greater voice to this community in Montgomery County and help point us in the direction of what else we need to do to help make people's lives complete and as full as possible. So thank you very much for sponsoring this, and thank all of you for everything you do every day to make this possible, because without you, legislation doesn't mean anything.
Well said. So I just want to introduce a couple of individuals and the organizations that are behind me. In a moment, we are going to hear from Dr. Odile Brunetto, the Chief of Aging and Disability Services, as well as Rick Callahan, the co-chair of the Interagency Coordinating Committee on Developmental Disabilities and Executive Director of Compass Incorporated. But behind us today are outstanding individuals representing extraordinary organizations, starting with Trish Galilee, the chair of the Commission on People with Disabilities, Karen Morgret, the co-chair of the commission. We also have Kim Mayo, the DHHS administrator and Community Support Network. We have representatives from Jubilee, JESSA, PCR, Macomb, Ardmore, Rock Creek Foundation, SEEK, the ARC of Montgomery County, Project Search of Montgomery County, and We Achieve. Please give them a round of applause. Thank them for their leadership. And now I will invite Dr. Odile Brunetto to make some comments. And sadly, Dr. Brunetto is going to be retiring. She has had an outstanding career of public service here in Montgomery County. I've had the good fortune of working alongside her for more than 16 years and have seen firsthand her dedication and commitment as a public servant, and we are going to miss her. But with that, Dr. Brunetto, please say a few words.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You're a tough act to follow, the two of you. So good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this very joyful day today here. It's really an honor for me to be able to be with each one of you here today to celebrate our Montgomery County residents with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So thank you for the family members, for our residents, for our providers, for elected officials to join us for this very festive event. Today we are joining everyone across the nation who is celebrating the inclusion of persons with developmental disabilities in all facets of our life in the community, and also to increase our awareness of the barriers that are faced by persons with developmental disabilities as they connect to their communities. The proclamation across the nation was first introduced in 1987 by then President Ronald Reagan to focus on the inclusion, contribution, and togetherness that is so critical for persons with developmental disabilities and all of us in our community. I am so proud to live and work in Montgomery County, where our elected officials are so responsive and so supportive, and our community at large is also so welcoming of persons with developmental disabilities. Our Commission of Persons with Disability that was established over 40 years ago has been working very hard serving persons with all disabilities. And this fall, they recommended to establish a special commission, as you have heard from Council Member Albornoz and our County Executive. The recommendation from the Commission on People with Disabilities was introduced in September. And here we are in February 2023, a Bill 10-23, was jointly crafted by the executive branch and the legislative branch here in our locality. The new commission will have 19 voting members and 6 ex-officios. We are urging all of you to consider applying for this new commission when the announcement comes out shortly. And I know some of you are going to be here back this afternoon for the public hearing in support of this new commission. So thank you for that. And this week, on Thursday, the HHS Committee of the County Council will discuss the bill to move it forward. So thank you again for allowing me to serve our county residents with disabilities all these years. It has been a privilege, and I'm really ending my career on a very high note. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you for that, Dr. Brunetto. Next, we will hear from Mr. Rick Callahan.
Good morning, everybody. I was at a comment about President Reagan's proclamation too, so Adil took that from me. So thank you. So thank you for the county executive, county council for this proclamation. I also want to thank Adil for the years of services and dedication to supporting people with disabilities and the DD providers. The commitment has always been there, but during the pandemic, what the county executive, county council does cannot be measured. It's been exceptional. In 2014, the community settings role was proclamated or established by the Center for Medicaid Services. During the time from the proclamation of 1987 until 2014, to live in the community, how the CMS defined it is you didn't need to live in an institution. So as long as you were out of an institution, you were considered to be in the community. In 2014, that role changed to basically say that the life of a person with disability should not look any different than the life of a person without a disability. To live, work, play, and worship and thrive in the community. Montgomery County has been a leader not just across the state, but across the United States for putting not just rules and policies, but actually investments into making sure that happens for everybody, every day for people with disabilities. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming out today for DD awareness. We've done a lot of work so far, but we still have a lot of work to do. So thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Why don't you read the first 4 and then I'll take us home.
It's a different pattern. Okay. Whereas Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month is designated to raise awareness about developmental disabilities and highlight the importance of equity and including people of all abilities in all aspects of community life. And whereas Montgomery County has a strong history of investment in services and supports that allow people with intellectual and developmental disabilities to live full lives in partnership with the provider agencies that deliver essential services. And whereas there are an estimated 40,000 individuals of all ages living with a developmental disability in Montgomery County, it's important to raise awareness about how classrooms, workplaces, houses of worship, and communities are stronger when they include people of all abilities. And whereas many community members provide support and care to families with intellectual and developmental disabilities, support can come from friends, family members, professionals, and other community members. And
Perfect. And whereas the county encourages individuals with developmental disabilities to learn about and gain access to resources in their community, to fully participate in their communities, and to enjoy lives that include their dreams and preferences. And whereas in the coming months, the county will be creating an Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Commission, a dedicated independent advisory body appointed by the county executive and confirmed by the county council that will be able to advise county, state, and federal government agencies on issues pertinent to policies and services for persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities, identify current gaps in services, provide advice, and make recommendations on best practices. Now, therefore, be resolved that the County Executive, Mark Elrich, and Councilmember Gabe Albornoz, and the entire County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland, hereby proclaim March 2023 as Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, in recognition of the importance of inclusion and equity for all, and that people with intellectual and developmental disabilities make the county a better and more diverse place to live. Signed the 7th day of March in the year 2023 by the County Executive, myself, and Council President Glass. Congratulations.